So when John hears that kind of stuff, it burns him. So it's like, yo, you can't do that. So, and I get it, it's hard to be in these situations, but you know what?
Boxing fans here in London with Johnny Nelson. Johnny, I didn't recognise you there for a minute with all this diets and fasting. You lost quite a lot of weight, mate. Bloody hell, what's going on?
Don't know what you're talking about. I've always liked, I just used to wear fat tops.
The last time you were putting a bit of weight there, but now you're looking good, man. How's the fasting going, first of all?
Fasting's going well. Fasting's going well, physically, spiritually, mentally. Fasting's going great. It's wicked.
Dan Azeez and Joshua Buatsi, we were supposed to roll this back a couple of months ago. It didn't happen for the injury. This time around, there's a lot of pressure on both fighters. More Buatsi because he seems to be a bit further back in regards to the state that he should be at in his career. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday night in regards to mentality going into this fight from both fighters?
I think Saturday night, I think this is the hardest bit of the fight for all fighters on the undercard, which is having to talk to the media. And if you're a fighter, you just want to punch your way out of situations. Nobody wants to do this. Even though it's part of the business. And so I think these guys will feel most comfortable when the bell goes, because that's what they've been doing every day for months on end. So now all the work they've been putting in, and injuries they've got that they're not talking about, any confidence they've got or lack of confidence, Saturday night we're going to see it. So this part here, I know every one of these fighters don't want to be here, but they've got to be here, and that's what makes it more and more interesting, intriguing.
Is there a lot more pressure on Joshua Buatsi in this fight than there is? Because Dan Azeez obviously has come through the sort of the small hole shows, come through the hard way, done what he's done. A lot of people are saying, listen, he's the next Marvin Hagler. No pressure on him, but Buatsi, Olympian, signed with Sky, came through with Eddie.
Of course, it'd be a fool to say there's more pressure on Dan than on Joshua. Joshua's number one, Dan's number two, so Joshua loses going backward. So he's got more to lose. Whereas Dan, Dan's saying, well, I've always fought with a chip on my shoulder. I wasn't expected to do anything. Look what I've achieved. So everything's a plus for him. For Joshua Buatsi, he cannot afford to slip up here, because then people will start questioning his true level. You can't live with that.
I do want to talk about Azim, the star boy that's flying through his paces. Obviously, one of the youngest European champions to come from these shows. But just talk to me about his progression, his momentum that he's carrying into this fight against Paulson.
So Adam's still learning. Adam's still got a lot of tweaking to do in regards to the fighter he is. His ability is up there. His experience doesn't match his ability. And so he needs to get the experience because he's got amazing ability. So even in his last fight, you saw he was going back in straight lines, getting clipped, but still managed to turn it around. All those little things you've got to tweak, got to adjust. He needs to tighten those up, because if he wants to be world champion next year, and that's what I'm quite sure he's aiming for, and he wants to compete with the best in the world, within 5 fights, all that needs to be sewn up, stitched up. All the wrongs and the rights, they all need to be stitched up. He needs to get it in place and be the finished article. He'll always and forever be learning, but to be at world class level, he's going to make sure within the next 5 fights he's ready. He's ticked every box.
Do you want to quickly move on and talk about heavyweight boxing quickly? In a couple of weeks' time, we've got Fury Usyk. I've spoken to you about this on numerous times. We are close to the fight now. There's a lot of rumours coming out from camps that this has happened, that has happened. 2 weeks away from the fight, what's going to go down, Fury Usyk?
I think we Brits now need to get together and support the Brit. Regardless of what you think of Fury or not, you've got to support the Brit. Reason being, because it's the Brits against the world. And so on. And then we can argue about, if it's two Brits fighting each other, let's have that argument, let's have that conversation. But now we've got to support him, get behind him. And I've said it before, I think Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight in the world. That Tyson Fury turns up, I think he beats Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk has been training hard. I know what's happening in camp. I know how he's been working on it. Tyson Fury just needs to be his best, and his best will be enough. And in doing that, we'll have a good night. And then you can talk about the potential afterwards. Fury against Joshua. We can talk about those fights and get giddy about it. We can argue about it. We can push and shove about it. But I'm telling you now, at this point now, we're so close to the fight. That's what you need to get on.
I do want to revisit a story you've told in the past where Usyk went into Klitschko's camp and he sparred out there, putting on a great performance a couple of years ago. Talk to me about that, because I know you said you witnessed that. Was that something that you saw?
That was probably 3-4 fights in, and I was in the Klitschko camp, and he was with all the sparring partners. Usyk was one of Klitschko's sparring partners, Klitschko's top dog, and Usyk gave him kittens. They couldn't handle it, and each sparring partner were doing 2 or 3 rounds. My mum was out after 2 rounds, and they wouldn't let him walk past us where the press were. They ushered him out the back door, and then I said, "Who is that guy? Who is that guy there?" As he walked on, and nobody wanted to say nothing about him. They ushered him out. They got him out of the way. Eventually, I found out who it was. I said, "That guy's going to be world champion." If he's just done that to an established champion, the way he's done it, he's trouble. And I can remember seeing it, I thought, wow, my man's on it, he's on it.
Do you want to talk about John Fury, actually? He's had a little bit to say in a recent interview about people that criticised Tyson Fury. He's talked about Froch and talked about other people. I know you've talked about Tyson, and you and John have maybe had not a back and forth directly, but indirectly there's been something there. Do you get John's stance, though? Do you get John's stance? He's a father, right?
Listen, he's a father. He's his son. You know what I mean? And you know what? I'd expect nothing less from John. It's his son, and he's going to support his son. He died for his child. I died for my child. So I totally get it. I totally get the noise. I totally get everything. I get where he's coming from. Because you remember, when you read an article about somebody, or you hear something about somebody, that's someone's son, someone's father, someone's brother, someone's sister, and it hurts them and it hurts the people around them. So when John hears that kind of stuff, it burns him. So it's like, yo, you can't do that. So, and I get it. It's hard to be in these situations, but you know what? When you're up there at the top, his son is the best heavyweight in the world, and he's going to come under criticism. You can't stop everybody from saying what they think. Your success says it all, and Tyson's success should say it all. Don't get involved in the foolishness. Don't get involved with arguing with the likes of Froch or myself or anybody else. Just say, you know what? It doesn't matter what you say, because look where my son is. That's how he should roll.
Fair enough. Do you want to talk about AJ Ngannou? Something that sort of came out of nowhere. We didn't expect that fight to happen. We are sort of quite close to it. Once Fury Usyk's over, it's only a couple of weeks after. What do you make of that fight? What do you make of this sort of enigma that is Ngannou? We've seen one fight, maybe not enough.
I think Ngannou, the way he surprised everybody in his performance against Tyson Fury, I think Tyson Fury flattered him. I think Ngannou, I'm not writing him off saying this guy's no good, but in our sport, you need years of pedigree, understanding and schooling, and you will get found out. Even the best have been found out if they found wanting. So now you know Ngannou's a strong-handed, patient fighter that will not be intimidated. Now you know it, so you've got to use brains on him. I think Anthony Joshua's got to box him and bash him. Don't go in for the knockout. You're going for the knockout, then you're going to get drawn into a man and give a man a chance. I shouldn't have one. I don't believe any fighter in the top 10 Ngannou should be able to outbox him. He might be able to knock him out if he hits him, but if you're in the top 10 as a heavyweight, you should be in a position, you should have as much knowledge and experience to be able to totally outbox, outmove, outfox this man. He should never outbox you in a million years. And if he does, he shouldn't be in the top 10.
From what I saw last time in Saudi Arabia from AJ, we seem to have seen a little bit of that old AJ. There was a lot more. After the fight, he was a lot happier. He seemed to have that sort of stature about him. Did you see that? Did you notice this difference with Ben Davison and what happened in that fight against Otto Wallin?
Yeah, I do, and I think that mentality, I want to see it with strangers. I don't want to see it with somebody you're familiar with, somebody you've sparred with, somebody you know from the amateurs. I want to see it with somebody you're not familiar with. And so that tells me he really believes in what he's portraying. So it's easy. I know if you're fighting somebody you've used as a sparring partner, or you fought in the amateurs, but mainly more recently used as a sparring partner, the problem is familiarity breeds contempt. If AJ can take that personality when he gets in the fights, then Ngannou, then I'll say, Ben, you know what? You've done a job up there, and you've done a good job, and give credit where credit's due.
Quick last one before I let you go. Parker Zhang, another great fight. Talk to me about. Oh yes, go on, Johnny. Talk to me about that one, man. Parker's been on. He's got great momentum as well. Zhang's fought George Joyce, beating convincingly twice. Yeah. What happens in this fight?
You know what? I'm surprised at that, but Parker, yeah, he's on the roll. He got Wilder at the right time, right spot. Wilder, he's not the fighter he was. and it's quite clear. And that's not me being unfair. He wasn't. And so now maybe, so to get the win, it's great to have that win on your record. It's here to say, I've done that to him. And Parker put on an amazing performance. Zhang is a bigger version of George Joyce. What's going to change? So Parker needs to be smart and use his footwork, get in and out, and try and pop it, and don't make the mistake he did against George Joyce by getting greedy because you can hit him. Because these big guys can take a shot, blam, come back with something, and that's what happens. So Parker needs to be smart, and if he gets the win, then Parker now is all of a sudden getting the prizes of his experience in boxing.
Actually, final one, Conor Benn fighting on the same weekend. What do you make of him now? It looks like he's not going to be fighting in the UK anytime soon until all the hearings done or whatever's done. What do you make of the circumstance right now? And do you feel like we need to see him back in the UK if he's going to be back in the ring?
Well, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed from what I said the last time. Until he sorts his business out with the British Boxing Board of Control, we won't see him fight in the UK. I think to fight the likes of Eubank or even Smith, these guys that are doing that, they've got to remember they're putting their career in a balancing position, because if they fight, they're going to get some of the consequences of someone else's argument. It's not their argument. So even though these fights are great in the head, unfortunately they won't happen until this situation with the boxing ball sorted out for Conor.
Actually, last one. This is the last one. Artur Beterbiev against Callum Smith a couple of weeks ago. There was a lot of noise afterwards. It's a tweet by your mate Tony Bellew, who's come out and said, look, we need more testing, sort of coming out with...
I'm going to say something that's not going to make me very popular, so I'm trying to bite my lip, and I can't help it. The problem is, take the licks, man. If you lost, you lost. And I find that fighters, when they lose, all of a sudden they come out with an excuse. The better man won. And so we can all spread malicious gossip, rumours. I've done it. But when it comes to that sort of stuff, if you pass the test, you pass the test, end of. Accept the loss. And so if Tony's saying it, if the Smiths are saying it, accept the loss. If his fans are saying it, accept the loss, because it's easy if it's the other way around. Our one's better than yours. Accept the loss, because it sounds like sour grapes. That's what it sounds like. And that's me putting it nicely. So I'm just saying, when I hear that sort of stuff, I'm thinking, you know what? Unless it's there and it's proven, accept the loss. Don't try and piss on a win. It's just, to me, it don't sit right with me.
Cool, Johnny. I know that you're going to start very, very soon. I appreciate your time as always. I'm going to start fast. I'm going to do one of these 70-hour fasts or 84. What was it?
86-hour fast. We're starting April the 1st. Join me, man. I will phone you. I'll be in your case. Join me.
Actually, I might be fasting then anyway.
It's Ramadan. We'll see. It might be easy. Just don't break the fast. Just stick it out. You can do that.
Let's do it. All right. So everyone needs to go onto your Instagram. I'll just basically fast with you.
April the 1st. I do it every Sunday night from 6 o'clock Sunday night to 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. 36-hour fast every week. And then on the 1st of April, every 3 months, do an 86-hour fast. So the next 86-hour fast will be the 1st of April for 86 hours. We can do it. Join me.
Let's do it. I think I'll be joining. Top man.
Look at that. Shit just rolled off, man.
That's impressive at 80 years old. That's great, mate. Johnny Nelson, top man. Cheers.